Hello everyone, I'm Gweakles, and today I'm going to try something a little different. I was in Michael's and I spotted this calligraphy pen, this speedball calligraphy pen. Now I know. I love the brush pens, but I saw Babs Draws uses this calligraphy pen to ink, and she also, I don't know if it's this one, and she also, ooh, there's some on my finger already. But basically, I saw her talking about it on Instagram, and another artist was asking her about it, and she literally said she just grabbed the first one she found at the art store, and she's using it. I'm like, well, this pen and this ink is not, it's water resistant. Sorry, my brain farts always when it comes to the whole packaging deal, but it's basically water resistant, yes. But anyways, so I'm super excited. I want to try this out, and I had a feeling that I was gonna mess it up, so I made a sketch. I like it. I'm not too invested. I'm not gonna cry, but I did a couple of scratches and I'm pretty shook. So here's my tester board and what have you. And I was like, there's no way I am not gonna mess this up, right? So I just dipped a little bit in here to fill the reservoir, and then it said get the access off over here. And I was like, I'm gonna mess this up. Uh-oh. Did I not even dip? Of course, I'm trying to show you guys how awesome this is. And I mess it up. Oh my god. Look at that line though. Holy crap. Oh my god. So light, thick to light. I'm shook. I'm totally freaking shook. Oh my god, this is crazy. This is nuts. I love this. And then you run out, so then you go in and you're gonna have to dip again. So that might be the only off chance, but I mean, look at this. Shook. So I could tell right away that it was going to be a little bit similar to inking with a brush pen, and that was before I applied a lot of pressure, and you could see where the ink splurted everywhere. So the calligraphy brush pen, or not a brush pen, but the calligraphy pen, as you can see, is very different. But it's different in a good way. So just like each brush pen, you see me turning it to different sides, pushing it away from me, pulling it towards me. Normally you don't ever want to paint with a stroke that is away from you. But as I was just experimenting with this piece, as I said, I was just trying to really have fun and make a mess. And I did make a huge mess with the ink. But I learned a whole lot about it and where you're supposed to push it, and it was odd because sometimes, depending upon where the ink was falling, I could do the strokes directly from the front. Obviously, it should go without saying that the strokes directly from the front, pulling back towards you, are the best. It was very easy, maybe because I have a tendency to not be very gentle, and I'm used to pressing. I always press. You can see how tight I hold my fingers together, so I press a little bit harder than I should be when I am when I'm using my brushes or my pencils, and that's something that I'm gonna have to work on, especially with brush pens. But this, kind of just like working with the Pentel brush pen, obviously, the quicker I moved, obviously, if you watch any of my other videos, you'll notice that you lose more control the faster you go. So a good way to practice with the pens is to make sure that you take your time and never, just like this one, you shouldn't, even though I was, just for testing purposes to see how the ink would flow. Never, brush away. You always brush toward yourself, or don't go any farther than what your wrist or your shoulder, whether you are making your brush strokes, or your pen strokes. If you are using your shoulder, you don't extend farther than, you can reach. Or if you're using your wrist, they say to use your shoulder, but you do whatever's comfortable for you. But you can still see, like, it's an absolutely incredible, the line weight I could achieve with this. And it was like, especially if you want like really super clean lines and they're just so crisp. So this is a very good option. Like, if you have a hard time with using brushes, which I do, but I think it's just because I don't have, I have a little bit of shaky hands, and with brushes, the hairs on the brush can spread. And the same way, in the sense for this calligraphy pen, is if you press too hard, there's actually a slit in the center of the pen. So it's like a quill. So it's two pieces and it's split. So if you press too hard, the more it opens to let out the ink, almost like, if you hold two fingers up and then you spread them apart. So if you press too hard, the two pieces spread further apart, and all of the ink that it's holding will come out. So sometimes I'd accidentally fill up the inkwell too much. So when it came to using this calligraphy pen, one thing to keep in mind is, how hard you're pressing, same as like you would a brush pen, or if you were using a actual paintbrush to dip into the ink, obviously for line width and all that other stuff. So it essentially is very much the same as if using a paintbrush or a brush pen, but with its own, just like any other medium, with its own set of rules and context. But it just made these amazing clean lines, and as you can see, the big tester here was seeing if it would drag from my watercolors. I dipped into my watercolors to see if it would pick up any of the ink, and it didn't. I made sure to let it dry. I made a big mess with it because, I was dripping stuff, and then it got all over my fingers. So then I was like, meh. She just looks like she's horror. This was supposed to be a banshee. I had an idea of how to draw her, or how I wanted the character to look, but it didn't. And then at the same time, I was trying to do a dynamic pose. So I wasn't 180% in love with it, which is why I just used it as a tester. And then unfortunately, I didn't really have I knew I wanted her to be pale and have red eyes and crying, just like a banshee's supposed to be in the folklore, but I was so excited for the pen that I was like, whatever, color palette, sure, whatever. So the final piece didn't turn out as well as I wanted to, but I had so much fun trying this pen, and it's really cheap. I think it was only like $5 maybe. I'll try and find the link and put it in the description below, but I hope you guys liked this video. Thank you so much for coming to my channel to watch. If you would like to see other videos like this in the future, please give this video a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to see other videos from me, and that cowbell so that you can get notified when I post videos. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.